What's happening, Radiant? Welcome to our daily Devo today. I am so excited that you're joining in, hopping on. Go ahead, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. We're really going through this week and talking about grace. So the first day, if you missed it, I'm going to catch you up. We defined what grace is. You know, it's a word that's mentioned over 100 times in the New Testament alone. So it's something we should probably really lean into. Plus, it's in a lot of the worship songs we sing on Sunday, right? Who loves good grace? Some amazing grace. That's an oldie, but a goodie. Let me know your favorite worship song. But we've been walking through what grace means. So we defined it. And then the next day we talked about that the G is going to stand for gift. And we all learned I'm a big gifts person. If you want to know how to bless me, it's right here. It's a gift that just lets me know you thought about me. Yesterday was R, which is receive. So it's a gift, but then it's on us whether or not we're going to receive it. So today we're going to talk about the A. And of course, I'm going to keep you suspenseful here and not tell you what it means until after a story. So try to guess. Go ahead, see if you can beat me to it in the comments. But I heard this scenario one time. Picture this and imagine this with me. Every morning when you wake up, imagine that someone deposits over $1 million into your account every single day. Imagine, some of you guys are like, I don't need the money. I could use some toilet paper. I could use some paper towels. But just imagine, an overabundance of money was deposited every single time you woke up in the morning into your bank account. That'd be nice, right? Like, hello, I could think of a lot of things I could do with that money. Here's the catch, because there's always a catch with those things. You had to spend it in that day, because when you went to bed, it doesn't carry over. Like whatever you didn't spend, it goes away, and then a new amount is deposited the next day. It's a crazy thing to me. I started thinking, what would happen if that happened to me? I could tell you, as a gifts person, there's a lot of things I would want to get with that. I would want some clothes, some new Nikes, Adidas, maybe a car, a house, a pool. Man, there's a lot of things that I would want to do with that money. But I think what's interesting is after a while with that money, you'd probably be like, man, I bought everything I could ever want. There's only so much you can get for yourself before it's like, well, what can I do for other people, right? Like, because we're not meant to do life alone. Like, there's going to be a point where you're like, I could really, bless my mom with something. I could pay off the house or pay off the car. Or maybe you think about your spouse and you're like, man, I could buy them their dream car. I could buy John, he loves Aston Martins. I could get him a really nice Aston Martin. I could, get my friend a puppy. Or, you could start thinking and it would start becoming bigger than yourself. And then the more you give, it's almost like this adrenaline rush because you're like, man, I love giving gifts. If you give gifts to people, you love that feeling when they love what you got them, right? And I thought about this in the sense of grace. I think it's do a perspective shift because here's the reality. Every single day, there is more than enough of all of God for more than enough of what I need. It says in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, my grace is sufficient for you. And I think a lot of times we hear that verse, right? It's not an unfamiliar verse. I'm not pulling out something crazy in some random verse here. We've all heard this. My grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you. And His grace is available to us and also sufficient. We don't need anything else but Him. However, this grace that we have now seen as a gift, we've now received. Here's what the A is for today. Ready? The grace is meant to push us to action. That's what the A stands for. Action. It is supposed to push us beyond ourselves. It is meant for us to move outside of ourselves and move into giving it and extending it to other people. Here's the beautiful part about it. There is enough grace for everyone in the entire world. If I deposited all that money into your account, there's more than enough for you and every single person you could ever want to bless. Same thing with grace. And what's even better is that grace can give what money can't. Grace can give healing and forgiveness and wholeness and, restoration from issues in their past. It can change legacies and generations to come, but it has to be something that pushes you to action so that you can tell other people about it. Let's think, if we were saved from a near-death experience, if we overcame cancer, let's talk about something else even. If you win American Idol, if you go to the Olympics, if you win the Olympics, if you find out that you're pregnant, if you get engaged, if something amazing happens in your life, what is the first thing you want to do? after, doing a little happy dance, if you're like me, you want to go and tell other people about it, right? Like, it is so exciting and such a big deal that instantly it's in our human nature. We want to go into action and go tell someone. It is like super, super just human nature to do that, right? I think about when I got engaged and John proposed to me, like I gave you the story about the other day. If I would have been like so excited, but then thought, man, I don't want to offend anybody by telling them, this really exciting thing that just happened in my life, or I don't want to make other people feel bad or feel uncomfortable, or, I don't want to overstep. So I'm just going to keep this to myself. Even though it's like the most amazing, exciting, awesome thing ever, we don't do that, right? Like, that would be weird. That'd be a really weird thing. I would question your relationship if you want to hide the fact that you just got engaged. I want to tell you about the most incredible thing that's ever happened in history. God came down, took the name of Jesus. He lived a life, a pure, holy, precious life. He died, took on all of our issues in our past, was raised to life to open a door for you. And that means you now have access to all that God has for you. You now never have to stay complacent where you are. You never have to live a boring life. You have now influence that can change the world. Like, this is something that is a radical shift in your life, that the minute that you just accept it, it can change everything. Jesus changed history. This is the most incredible thing ever. And what's crazy is it's the one thing that we never share with people. We are so much faster to tell people about when we're engaged and when we get married than the minute that everything about our eternity changed. We're on life here on earth for a very small blippet of time, right? I know to us it feels like forever. Quarantine, I heard this analogy, you think 4 weeks in quarantine is long, try going 4 weeks without a phone, try going 4 weeks without hot water, 4 weeks without toilet paper, and it gave a little bit of a perspective because we really get caught up in things. But imagine, 65, 85 years, let's go ahead, really bless you, 100 years. You live 100 years here on earth. And then eternity. Eternity is time without end. Life has an end. Eternity is time without end. So we are so willing to celebrate something like marriage or pregnancy or Olympics or things that happen right now that have an end. And we're so hesitant to share the most amazing open door into an eternity of rejoicing and joy and no tears and no issues. And we're so hesitant to share that with people. I've been sharing every day or a couple of the days about how different staff members defined grace, and I want to give you another one today. Isabella Costello. If you don't know her, she's one of our amazing creative team fam. She's amazing, incredible, so gifted, so talented, so fun, so kind. Here's what she said. What grace means to me, I would be lost without it. It is unrelenting and unconditional compassion. You'd be lost without something. Why wouldn't you share what you found that made you not lost anymore? It's like having the directions to somewhere. Here, ready for this? Okay, imagine this scenario. You want to go and you're telling all your friends, oh my goodness, I found the most amazing restaurant. It changed my life. It is such a great experience. Nothing like you've ever seen before. All your worries go away at the door. Kind of like how we describe Disney to people, if you know John and I. It is the most amazing thing. You have to come. And then you never tell them where it is. You kind of say, well, you can figure it out for yourself. I don't want to tell you what to do. How sad would that be? I would want to know. I would want to know where you're going. I would want to know what this amazing thing is and exactly how to get there. So grace needs to push us to action, because the amazing destination that can change your life, that's better than any restaurant, any coffee shop, Disney, any dream vacation, is eternity in heaven with no division between us and the one who created us and loves us despite our issues. We have to tell people how to get there, and it's through the person and the grace of Jesus. It should push us to action. So I want to really challenge you today. I know our challenge for the week has been Romans 5 and Ephesians 2 and reading that every day. Keep that. But I want to challenge you with something maybe a step further today. Pray, God, where do you want to see me get pushed to action because of your grace today? And I promise you, get ready. I explained grace and a relationship with God is the most amazing adventure of a roller coaster ride you could ever want. If you give him a second, the God of the universe is going to speak to you. Give him space. You know, we have time now being in quarantine. Ask him and then sit there. What's probably going to happen is a name is going to come to your mind, or a situation, or a family member, and you're going to think, oh, that's just me thinking, or, you know, that's just my own thoughts. Probably not. Really ask the Holy Spirit to push you to action today. And when that name comes to your mind, that situation, that family member, that maybe coworker, employee, pray. Say, okay, God, what kind of action step do you have for me? Maybe you need to pray for them. Maybe you need to reach out. Maybe you need to share the fact that you're a Christian for the first time ever. And it's scary, and I get that. But watch what happens when you tell them how to get to the most amazing destination possible in the grace of Jesus. That's my action step. Try it today, and I promise, once you see what happens when someone else encounters Jesus, you're going to want to tell everybody else about the most amazing person of grace in Jesus. I love you guys, and come back tomorrow because we're going to go even further into what grace means.